see how the wood behaves before touching a CNC machine. So hand skills to me are basically the fundamentals of becoming digital, because they know how this stuff works and they can teach that to a machine. Awesome. So I'm going to go very, very quickly through a whole bunch of these things. I know you guys are tired and strapped for time. Basically what I did is I took a couple of the VTC disciplines, and I just wanted to tell you what industry is doing in terms of digitization, right? Industry, I'm talking about basically a bunch of friends that are in big companies and playing with digitized equipment, right? So welding, metal fabrication, thanks very much for the one training center. That was very, very enlightening to hear that you guys are actually doing the certified welding. But MIG and TIG welding and all that sort of stuff is starting to turn into AI seam tracking, robotic welders, CNC water jet cutting machines, etc. Right? A lot of people always tell me, it's like, yeah, but this stuff doesn't work in Namibia. Yes, it does. Right? Metallum over here is working with robotic welders and CNC machines, right? TED Laser as an example, and also Windhoek Machine Fabric. This is something which, the reason I'm telling you guys this is because all these companies need technicians. A lot of these people are saying, you know what, we're going to get any welder and we're going to send them overseas. They're going to sit there and get trained. And they are basically complaining about it. They're saying, why must we send these people around the world to get trained when over here they can be training providers for these things, right? So there is this industry need, especially for digital machines. Plumbing, pipe fitting. All the plumbers, who are all the plumbers over here? None? Okay, cool. Do you guys know about IoT? Internet of Things. So this is basically, you have sensors in the water pipes. As soon as the water pipe leaks, it sends a message to your phone or to the person who owns the stuff, right? This IoT world is becoming super, super, super big, right? It's gotten to a point where I'm teaching it to 6-year-olds at robot school. For the reason because it's everywhere. And IoT is a very fast-growing industry and is taking over everything from farming, plumbing, electricity, the works, right? Over here, as an example, 3 companies, Lamneek, Xylem, and Sigmatech. These are all IoT companies in water and electricity, right? And also farming. I've also added a whole bunch of ISO standards for you guys to peruse if you like to look at that. Electrical general automation, Eco-Robotics, Afritech, Sigmatech, Charleston. These guys are looking at smart grids, Industry 4.0. So this is, we're talking also kind of like the fourth and fifth industrial revolution, right? PLC and SCADA panels that talk to IoT sensors. This is basic stuff that the industry is busy playing around with. Again, lacks local technicians, right? And these technicians get imported. And then AI managed software. I'm not going to talk about AI. I think you guys have also learned quite a lot, heard quite a lot about it. Everybody knows the EV3 car kind of wave that is coming through Namibia and through the world. Did you guys know that nobody over here can service these lithium-ion batteries? Nobody can store them. Why? Right? It's the same as servicing now these cars. There's a huge market. Like, I mean, BMW, Nissan, electric vehicles in Namibia, e-cars in Namibia, these guys are all looking for technicians. So this is something, and I believe the VTCs can actually jump onto that because there is a market, there is employment opportunity, and we can get there. And I don't believe it's so difficult. IoT sensors, I mean, at robot school, we're teaching that to, 6 to 10-year-olds, right? So I think we need to do that. Bricklaying, general construction. You've got people that 3D print houses. I don't know if you guys have heard that. Big crane comes and draws out a house, and basically like in the picture, and you have a house in a week. This information, like I hear from my brother quite a lot. He's an architect, he's an architectural historian, and he's saying these 3D printers are hitting Europe by storm, right? Especially in Spain. Namibia, not yet. South Africa, interestingly enough, has 3 companies that are 3D printing houses. So it's just a matter of time that some companies over here is going to come buy themselves one of these big machines and start printing houses. Do we have technicians? No. Right, so we need to all start preparing ourselves in terms of these technologies that are coming. Not just saying, oh yeah, we're going to wait for somebody to come and help us out with them. Right, because these technologies are coming. They're knocking on our door. Then carpentry, manufacturing, this is all going into robotics arms, that material handling, spray systems, joining, etc. Here are a lot of job opportunities. We're talking Halsbau Hess, who's now all of a sudden gone global in terms of his factories. Ted Laser, local projects in Namibia, CNC machining, Namibia wood joinery, tabled, timber creations, and the list goes on, right? Again, they train their own technicians. And that is something that needs to be formalized in some way, right? So basically, the key areas we need to address is never stop learning. We constantly need to keep on updating curricula. So if I look at Robot School as an example, we teach robotics from 4 years old until AI, 18 years old, and advanced manufacturing, and the list goes on, right? Our curriculum never stops learning. So if I look at robots, beginning of this year, we had 300 robots. Basically little builds that the children can build with curriculum behind it, right? Now, we've got over 600 different robots because my staff has to keep on developing to keep at the times, right? And that is something I need to kind of stress, especially in terms of all educational sectors. Like it, especially with technology, it doesn't stop and it just goes faster. And that is the danger behind it. And it's also, if we can figure out how we can leapfrog it and create our own technology, our own tech, I think we're sitting in a winning party. Then obviously standards, ISO standards. A lot of people over here have spoken a lot about it. Interestingly enough, this micro courses and stackable certificates, everybody's also been saying that, agree very, very strongly with it. It just helps quick skills deployment, right? Like there needs to be a conversation between industry and academia so industry can come and ask, listen, we need these players to come in, right? As an example, at Robot School, it takes me about a year to train somebody, and I'm busy trying to scale my team to 10 people. So I'm 3 people now, but I've got this need of 10 people. Where do I get these people? Don't know. So basically, I'm running around town being like, oh, you're creative, you're kind of like a cool kid. Come on in, I'll train you up, right? Waste my time. Yeah, build some robots to train them. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. And then the next one, yeah, industry linkages, I did cover quite a bit. So basically a lot of work I did in Fab Lab, Digital Transformation Center, and also now Robot School is basically creating a different kind of person, right? So what we believe in, a child needs to know a little bit of everything, right? So with us, they come in 4 years old, they first just play with Legos and learn hand-eye coordination, all that sort of stuff, learn to build little structures, all that. When they get to 6, they start learning basic engineering and mechanical engineering principles, playing with gears, how do gears work, gear ratios, etc. Then they go into coding, C++ stroke coding. Then eventually when they turn 12, they go into advanced automation robotics. That's where we don't even give them robot builds anymore, we just give them problems to solve. And then from 14, they go either into advanced manufacturing, AI, game design, and the list continues, right? What are we doing here? We're teaching these children programming, solving problems, thinking by themselves, so critical thinking, giving them really, really challenging problems that these robots need to solve. So they need to creatively try and solve these problems that the robot needs to do. And we're giving them like kind of like this foundation of a little bit of everything. So by the time they get to age 14, 12, 14, they've gotten their foundation, they've then done the exploration, and then afterwards we call it specialization. Then they go, okay, fine, you know what? I only want to do advanced manufacturing because I like design and engineering. I don't really like the coding part. Or if they really like the coding part, they say, okay, I'm only going to jump into IoT, and that's what I'm going to do. And then afterwards, that's like a year-long course. Afterwards, if they want to, which most of them do, say, fine, you know what, Mom, afterwards, please pay me for another year to go advanced manufacturing or AI or whatnot. The trick again over here is creating new courses all the time and getting rid of the old ones. Last year we had basic game design, which we threw out the window at the beginning of the year and did advanced game design, right? It's a curriculum we basically just wrote off, deleted, and said we need to redo it. Why? Because the technology, the software, and everything has advanced internationally. Cool. Then basically this again links up to reimagining what a workforce person is, like especially in industry. Like a plumber should actually now all of a sudden be like a dashboard designer and a coder, right? They need to have a little bit of these two things to be able to know IoT. And IoT is a huge thing. Electricians become like a microcontroller program SCADA integrator, right? This is what industry needs. Carpenter becomes a designer, a CAD designer, CNC operator. Especially also when it comes to like maintenance of these machines. And we're not talking like this is hardcore stuff. It's not. It's basically like servicing a Volkswagen Beetle. It's not hard. It's just learning the methods, right? Welder, you get these robotic arms now, right? There was an interesting discussion like that question you posed earlier. Very, very interesting. These welders are programmed to become better than humans. So what is a welder now? The welder still needs to know how to weld, right? It is super important that they know how to know the science and the art behind it, right? That will never be scraped. But the actual task of the machine doing it, that will take over the machine. So what are they? They're becoming a welding operator, right? We're talking now efficiency, industrial application, welding these things, these seams by that kind of AI tracked stuff and training the machine how to actually weld. Because this machine doesn't just go and it's like, oh yeah, I'm really going to weld this thing together. They need to be like, okay, I'm literally taking this machine, going here saying, this is how you're going to weld the next 20,000 welds, right? That's what the welders are going to become because then they have knowledge of it. Cool. And this is also where I'm saying it's like needs to be, the workforces need to become a little bit more flexible. Like know a little bit of everything and then specialize in one. That is incredibly important from my side. So because I'm constantly looking at tech, I'm kind of like a nerd by this. Virtual reality, very cool that someone is going to present on it, so I'm not even going to touch it. Self-assembly manufacturing. I don't want to freak you guys out too much, but nanomaterials are starting to create themselves, right? Same as AI is starting to think about itself, materials are starting to do this stuff by themselves, right? This is hardcore industry that's knocking on our door. Give it another 5 years' time, right? Who's going to program them? Who's going to maintain them? Who's going to be the technician behind it? Right? Are we going to keep on importing technicians or are we actually going to start creating these technicians? Then a very important one, this is kind of my world, open manufacturing networks. Interesting one. I spoke about Internet of Production Alliance. It's kind of like a whole bunch of people like myself all around the world. I think we're about 3,000 now, just techies, who create things, throw it on the internet, say anybody can use it, but when you change it, please let us know. So our products that we create keeps on developing, right? So we've got like an army of millions of designers recreating the stuff you've created to make it better, right? It goes IP crazy, and these products actually mean something. They solve a lot of problems. Interesting example, there was a lady who went to space. She smuggled a 3D printer on the spaceship. Somebody over here sent an email to the spaceship, to the 3D printer, and the 3D printer started printing it out. She got into a whole bunch of trouble. Eventually got fired from NASA, and she was like, okay, well, that was fun, right? But this is now this thing of decentralized manufacturing. With the Internet of Production Alliance, the last project I had was for BMW, where BMW sent me a file to 3D print out. I printed out this file. I don't even know what it was. I just printed it. I gave it to BMW over here. They tested it. They built it in one of their cars, tested it out, said thank you very much, gave me a whole bunch of money, and they said, cool, that's all that, right? Instead of BMW printing this thing out, wherever, shipping this thing all the way here, they sent an email, right? This is now decentralized manufacturing, if you wish. And this has a huge amount of power, and that is something that I think the students and the people should know about. There are libraries and libraries and libraries of files out on the internet that can solve almost any problem. Then open source ecology, OSE. This is becoming an interesting thing because it's controlling machines over the internet, right? I don't know, have you guys ever heard of 3D printing farms? So let's say I have a little water bottle that I want to send to Barcelona to be printed over there because some guy over there wants to buy 100 water bottles of mine. I can rent 4 3D printers in Barcelona, send files to them, get them printed over there, and then pay that farm for my products. They get delivered over there. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about import, VAT, anything, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that's where, especially in manufacturing and all that is happening. So think about everything that the country needs over here. We're talking about we need to start manufacturing. Yeah, we need to start manufacturing, but we don't need to start mass production. We need to start clever manufacturing. From these Chinese guys that all of a sudden want to have import like a whole bunch of pipe things, we can say no because this guy can 3D print them out. Sorry, I must probably stop. Okay, cool. So that's basically me, short and sweet. If you guys have any questions, please feel free.
Questions or comments, please? You can give to Mr. Jerry Bakers.
Yes, thank you very much for this presentation. Yes, we are tired, but yeah, I couldn't sleep on this one, and I was following it 100%. Now, my worry is, my first question is in terms of your curriculum. Who develops your curriculum? Number one. Number two, your student catchment. Student catchment, the kids that you get, where do you get them from? How do you advertise? Because I'm busy thinking, are Katutura kids also going there? And how are they benefiting? I'm looking at Abraham and saying, Abraham, can you also do something under the ministry to ensure that, my brothers in Katutura and my sons and daughters in Katutura can also benefit from this? Thank you.
I'm going to take your second question first. Unfortunately, this is the evilness of the private sector, right? All of us need to pay rent, pay staff, all that sort of stuff. So my course is, we charge, right? It happens twice a month 3 hours every afternoon. They pay for a 3-year-old, he pays like 1,050 Rand a month, where they come in and go, right? So it's quite expensive. There have been a couple of projects that I tried to do with like Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, where we then got children in and we did the project. Unfortunately, that was also eventually shut down. The reason I went that way was because I was in development and university stuff for 10 years, doing this exact work, and it was never funded, where I eventually said, you know what, I'm done with development work, I'm now going to start making a bit of money. Still very interested in making, in helping, like obviously, like I would love to open it up, but for the quality that I want to provide, I need to charge for it because I need to get quality lecturers. I'm sure all the VTCs and universities have the same problem, right? Having a high quality lecturer costs money. And what do you get for it? You get out quality students, right? So that's the thing. Secondly, who develops curriculum? Mainly me. I'm constantly sitting on the internet looking at all kinds of new stuff and things, new inventions that are being made, especially in the robotics realm. And then we look at that and we try and create curriculum to teach children the fundamentals of this thing. Let's say, what was it, the last one is like this amorphous robot that walks around and does things, right? That thing exists, high-end robotics, but its fundamentals are super, super simple, right? It's basically, how do you make this thing balance, and how do you make it walk on its 2 feet, and what's the programming behind it? What we then sit is, we sit in a room full of Legos, put these things together, lots of fun, and then eventually create these step-by-step, kind of almost like books, in terms of how to put them together. Test them out on the children. We've got one class of children which are like our maniacs, if I can say that. And they're always our test subjects, and they're basically the people that are like, this is boring, or this is cool. And that's what we base it on. After that becomes then marking curriculum. But how do we mark them? Yeah. Anybody else? I'm free. One more.
Good evening. I'm not sure if I heard your answer to one of his questions. It was actually also my question. Your recruitment process. I'm hearing of this particularly for the first time. How much have you tried to promote your institution across the country? Secondly, is it just for skills development or empowerment? Or is there an element of accreditation need in the kind of programs that you offer?
Okay.
Yeah, those two.
I get asked that question a lot, and I always step on people's toes, but I'm going to do that again. About 2 years ago, I sat with the NQA, and I tried to get my curriculum pushed through, right, to actually become like an educational institution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what I got was the stuff you guys are teaching like 10 to 14-year-olds is what third-year universities and NUSTs engineering learn. So, no, please go away. Right? And there I basically gave up. That is in terms of accreditation, right? So basically it's the same as Martin Wilkinson said yesterday in his panel. It is, right now what we're doing is we are creating really high-skilled children that get referred them then into schools. So a lot of, at the end of the year, a lot of, especially these like 14-year-olds that are now going to like different schools, they are asking me for reference letters. So it's almost like a portfolio job kind of thing. It's like, what has this child learned and all that. That becomes interesting because that's, okay, you're not certified. You don't have a, like, kind of, congratulations, you're an engineer, but you've got a portfolio behind it. So that's the weight I'm playing at right now. In the same time, I'm busy working with the University of Barcelona, IAC, and also MIT to help me get my curriculum certified through them. And sorry guys, then you're gonna have a lot of 14-year-olds with the MIT robotics degree running around the country. Right, but that's your guys' problem, not my problem. Cool. Yeah.
Okay, can you give the mic to Prof, please?
Sorry, did I miss?
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation.
Pleasure.
I'm talking about self-manufacturing, and I will give you an example. My grandson is 11 years old. He went to a Montessori school. But that Montessori school where he was graduated on the level of grade 12, at the age of 9, he went to a private open academy school, which cater for innovators. So one day when I came at home, he broke the remote control of the DSTV. Remote control, you know what it is. So he said to me, I don't have to worry, he will print one for me within an hour. And I asked him, how will you do that? He said, but I did robotics and coding, so I only need the code at the back of the remote control. I was thinking he was joking. He put his bicycle and he drove out of the complex. He went to another student that is in the same class. So they are already on level 12, grade 12, 11 years old. So what I try to say that the artificial intelligence, your robotics will become more and more in your curriculum. And he was exposed at a very age. Within an hour he came back. He said, I want to test it. I have to reprogram now the program on the smart TV. So it's a big TV. So he reprogrammed that. I didn't know how he did it. He said to me, now everything is. He said, even the color is much better now. And I said to him, how did you get this remote control? He said, because of the serial numbers, it's already in the cloud. I don't have to drive to a DST shop to buy that expensive remote control. It will cost you only a hug, Dad. And I want to give you a hug. This is what I've learned, and this is what I will do. I'm not going to a university. I will generate things because I was trained and empowered to do this. But I said, you must do a BSc engineering. He said, but I did not see relevance of that. So he argued with me. So now he started building these robots. He's building now the robots, and he makes this TikTok videos and all this stuff. At the age of 11, he's going to 12 now. So that is now what we want to see, your innovators in the world and so on. So that is what he... So the program he follow is an open academy. They have a specific program that they have to follow. One thing that was built in the program was the digital citizen skills, meaning your wellness on the internet that I talked about this morning, cyber attacks, security of data. So he learned those things and he said to me, don't worry, I've built in, and so he's even programming my solar panel software. He's now increasing, he can switch it off my two geysers, the one geyser in the afternoon and one geyser in the morning. I was not even about that.
This is exactly
Yes.
what I'm talking to about.
So
there
in South Africa, those schools are popping up now. And they say the current school system did not prepare our students for the world of work. They prepare them to become unemployed. The same with the universities. I raise my case.
So as an example, like, just to refer on that, like, that's where kind of the world I come from. I'm come from academic industrial product design. That's what I am, right? And I think I was like 2 years in, and I dropped all that stuff. Yes, I'm still a designer on the side. I'm also a computer programmer. I'm a website developer. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a mechatronics engineer, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on because I decided I'm going to teach myself with open source information. And this is exactly what I'm teaching these children at Robot School to do, so that they can think by themselves. So if they say, you know what, I want to put a solar panel on my dad's roof and connect it up and then save my dad a little bit of money just because I can, but I know how to do it, that's what I want, personally, for these people, much like yourself. Thank you.
Okay, can we give him a round of applause, please?
For a second, I was actually thinking, are we really in Namibia? Things like this are happening. I was really thinking and saying, are we really in Namibia? Things like this are happening. And then I reflected to what our president said, that we are too few to be poor. Because really, to get such infrastructures, Mr. Ibrahim, Montessori, it's a private school. So from within our government to initiate such a program, I think it will be very expensive. Okay. No, it's fine. Let's move on. That's for another day. Mr. Daniel, are you ready or okay? Mr. Daniel, 5 minutes, ne?
You can adjust where the VR headset sits on your... Select the proper type of extinguisher by holding the controller over top of it and pulling the trigger button on the controller. First, now aim the fire extinguisher at the seat of the fire. Squeeze the trigger and sweep back and forth. Start at the front of the fire and move towards the back of the fire.
Then I check my scoreboard, how did I do? I'll just explain a bit at the moment. Okay, the first step I was supposed to turn the fire alarm on.
Start the exercise by pressing the button.
Which I didn't start it. That's why I didn't get a score. Okay, perfect. Let me just speak into this for just to explain what was happening very quickly. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to talk about it bridging through. Maybe just to answer Dr. Shingi on the flight simulation. I'm very passionate about aviation. So with the simulator, for a PPE or private pilot license, you require at least 10% in the simulator. For a commercial license, you 25% in the simulator. And then for an airline, transport airline license, it's almost done, almost in the simulator, because you're just familiarizing yourself to the actual aircraft. Okay. So the key thing is, one of the key things that we realized with these simulations, they are not replacing practicals. They are actually, there's a shortage of infrastructure, there's a shortage of equipment. practical example that that I'll give is in Unit 435 in plumbing and pipe. All these are the tools that are required according to the NTA website, and some of the tools are missing. 35% are missing, and then there's an insufficient ratio because some of the tools are supposed to be used 1:1, and then some are available but in very limited quantities, hence affecting the ratio. And then we can simulate any tool. Learners can then, or trainees can then interact with these tools virtually. And then an example tool with simulation. I had an opportunity just about 3 weeks ago. This is in Algeria. So what they do, I was in Algeria. So this, they do crane operation. So before using this type of simulation, they had lots of injuries and machine damage. And actually one damage because of the students not doing the simulation, it cost them about $70,000 to fix the crane. So after the simulation, incorporating the simulation, students spend about 40% of the actual practical in the simulator and then 60% in the actual machine, lowering the cost, reducing the potential for damage and machine damage. So the second thing that I'll talk about is site visits. One of the key things, this is a local study that we did. Most of the VTCs, according to unit standards, they should be site visits. You know, for example, in plumbing, you should do maintenance and domestic plumbing installations. Some of these Tvet institutes, they don't do any site visits. Some do in limited quantities. And any industrial site can be simulated, and then trainees can do these practicals in a virtual environment. We look at first aid as well. You know, first aid is generic, which is good, but also different emergency scenarios that differ from trade to trade. The emergency in electrical general is different from an emergency in plumbing or in bricklaying. So we can simulate any scenario for an injury. So this is how actually simulation can solve this. You know, inaccessible practicals or hypothetical practicals. For example, you know, a green hydrogen plant that is still yet to be built. We have the plan, we can already simulate and train in advance on how to, you know, change a wire or plumbing or welding within that plant. Looking at hospitality and training, you know, sometimes there are no cruise ships, but there's a huge cruise ship industry that's booming. You know, we can already simulate, you know, how to do room service in a cruise ship and many other general services. And then high cost of training. You know, this is also an emphasis on the seabed training, which emphasizes on more of doing practicals. It increases the cost of doing practicals. You know, some of the Tvet colleges that we visited, practicals are downsized. So, and others are done in groups. So, here I can actually complement this. You know, safety aspect, I already talked about that. And then one of the key features of some of the key features of these platforms that we are actually actively working on, it works 100% offline. It works 100% offline, allows API integration, so you can actually teach any language in any course in any language, gives you immediate feedback, is data driven. And then, in case that has already been shared, or on institutes where this is actually used, we had an opportunity to interact with this university that's actually already implementing it. It's in Accra. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Daniel. Is there any questions from the floor? Okay, can you give him applause as he's going down? I think it's very clear. So we are almost there. Just a few minutes to go. Okay, there's one question or a contributing point.
I can talk. No, it's not a question really. You know, good afternoon or evening. When things like this are coming through us, I think we need to embrace them in a much more serious manner, holistic or aggressively. There were some simulations, the guy just left. I once said if you've got some government officials, okay, no, yes, okay, these are the gatekeepers. They need These are the gatekeepers. You need to convince the gatekeepers for things to move, isn't it? But I hope I'm safe.
You are protected.
Something that could be of great value to this sector may take long to go through the gatekeepers. Why? Because they are not comprehending it. Therefore, there is need for reorientation to appreciate this. Prof here just said it, 11 year. We got it as, what is it? As if he's telling us a story. But that is reality. That is where the world is going to. He presented and then he just showed me. I said, no, from next month, I want you to come. I'm not inviting him to Botswana to come and do a demo. But that is, we need to move very fast. But that's the reality on the ground. So here in Namibia, when we are getting these things, let us find a way of making enough time to understand. So that we don't what? We don't block. In no time, we'll be lagging behind. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's give applause. Okay, there's one more for Messi. We are still in the land of the brave. So we are still trying to adapt.
Is it on? Okay. Now, I just want to commend the presenter because I know at NAMPA we are in the process of implementing the welding course using VR. So from my own personal experience, I can see, and I'm really proud that we have young Namibians doing this because it serves a lot with regards to safety. It serves a lot with regards, and for me, the most wow was the fact that you can do it offline. So students, when they have homeworks, when they have access to the material, honestly, all I'm saying is wow. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Messi. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. So we keep on learning. So it's actually a reminder to us that we should actually act together as a nation to try to implement these innovations. Okay, I've deprived you last time. Can you please give her the mic? Let me give you now the privilege. Mr. Moses, please get ready.
No, yes, I only want to find out what material does he need. If, for example, we have unit standard curriculum, which the normal standard one which you were giving, for example, I just want to find out what information does he need so he can simulate the practical session of our particular course.
Mr. Daniel.
So all we need is the unit standards. So you give us the unit standards. We work hand in hand with the trainer to develop the simulation. So the trainer will know what steps should be taken in order, for example, to fit a pipe. They will know the type of pipe and all of that. Those specific details the trainer will know. And some of the specifications actually there on the unit standard sheet. So that's all we need.
Mr. Abraham, such programs, innovative programs, can they be funded? Is there room for funding for such programs? Please.
You provoked me. I didn't want to respond. On the issue of when I was going out, sorry, I had to step out because of an urgent phone call. I heard my brother speaking about gatekeeping, and I didn't want to speak on the gatekeeping issue because it's always very sensitive from government side when you speak to these issues at this level. It's always easy to be misunderstood, but from the ministry side, especially from the Ministry of Education, when it comes to electronic learning, we give institutions, training institutions, carte blanche to innovate in that space. Government, with the development partners, supported the development of the national platform. I'm sure you're familiar with the national platform, which is an open platform available to all training providers. When it comes to innovations like this, the two innovations that I've seen, actually the three, if I'm counting from my brother Bartholomew's, and Mr. Mubita as well, EduTech. If the innovations are developed and you need to come to a point where there's seed capital from the open market going into these innovations, bringing them up to a stage where it's like, they are commercially viable. From government side, government doesn't always operate in this space, colleagues. Government cannot provide seed capital for each and every single innovation, but government can create the landscape, the policy landscape, to make these innovations possible. Government can step back and not get in the way of innovation. But when it comes to making these innovations commercially viable, it is up to the open market to get the funding, the seed capital, where we can play a role and we are able to speak to development partners like we've done with the e-learning platform, for instance. The money didn't come from government, the money came from the development partners. And we made that conversation possible. We said, this is a priority for us, digitalization as government. Development partners, we have engagements with them every 3 years, with the German government, for instance, 3 years, 5 years, we've got a 3-year or 5-year window. We sit down with them and we say, on our priority list, when it comes to digitalization, it's e-learning. Can you give us money to support that particular element? And then we pair them up with the Namibian Training Authority, and we say, please make e-learning possible with the Namibian Training Authority. And that's how now we come to a stage where we've got the National E-Learning Platform. But the innovations are a lot. From government side, we are open to innovation. This country is one country that is open to innovation. In terms of the landscape that is needed to make innovation possible, the landscape is there. In terms of registering the innovations, the colleagues who are running these businesses, they've been able to register the business, they've been able to patent their ideas. In terms of the framework or the foundation on which these innovations run, you've got, fast internet connections in this country. There was a comment here about slow internet connections. In Namibia, the connection that you get doesn't matter where you are. And I'm speaking from experience because I went to Tsumkwe 1 year and I got a 50 meg internet connection in Tsumkwe. 50 meg internet connection. So the connection that you get in Namibia depends on affordability. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the middle of the Namib desert. I'm telling you, if you've got the money, you can get that connection. From either Paratus, MTC, Telecom, who else is there? The major fiber suppliers, or technology, internet suppliers. So from government side, we are open to innovation, but because of the nature of economies and the type of economy that we've got as a country and the realities that we've got to contend with, and the many mouths that government has to feed, you cannot be the sole investor in ideas. Even though we want to play that role, we cannot because of the realities of the country in which we are. Because you've got a pyramid. In terms of the tax base, what you've got at the top is very small. What you've got at the bottom that relies on this very small tax base, it's very big. And that's a reality that we have to contend with. But the policy landscape, comrades and friends, the policy landscape supports innovation 100%. I submit, comrade, moderator.
No, thank you, my senior. It's very clear and there's really opportunities and we appreciate. We just need to work. Okay, so colleagues, back to my program. So there will be an online presentation by Mr. Vitalis Opinti, Chief Executive Officer and Chief Technology Officer of Yeni AI. So 10 minutes for him and then we can go to the next item. Mr. Vitalis, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon, how are you?
Wonderful, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, it's clear and sound.
Awesome. Today, I quickly want to run through and show you the work we are doing with artificial intelligence by using it as an assistant for teachers in overcrowded classrooms and then as a tutor for learners. So it's called the NAI. And what I want to do is take you through 4 things. The first one is how the greatest leaders were taught throughout time and what we can learn from there to apply to the current form of learning. I want to also show you the big problem we have in education, one teacher teaching 40 students. And I want to take you through 100 years of technology solutions that were invented that just didn't solve the problem. And then I want to show you as well what we think is the answer to the overcrowded classroom and group instruction teaching methods. And this applies to all forms of teaching, whether it's vocational subjects or the normal subjects in high school or university. Really what we want to do is empower the teacher to be able to assign an AI tutor to every learner across any subject that they are teaching. And so how the greatest leaders were taught throughout time. In 336 BC, the king of Macedonia hired a tutor for his son Alexander. The tutor was Aristotle, and in that point in time, over 20 years later, Alexander built the greatest empire we've had in human civilization. It was one tutor teaching one student. Aristotle was one of the greatest philosophers we know from back then. He was a student of Plato, and Plato was a student of Socrates. And so he was really some of the brightest minds we have during those times. And it was not only a pattern that was happening around the king of Macedonia, but previous kings and queens hired really people to tutor their kids one-on-one. We had the likes of Leonardo da Vinci, Mozart, even Mark Zuckerberg. When he was 8 years old, his father hired a software developer to tutor him in software engineering because he saw that he really had a great talent for it. The pattern we see here is that one-on-one tutoring has been the mode of learning for nearly 2,000 years, up until 200 years ago when the Industrial Revolution started. And of course, we wanted to provide education to everyone. It's a noble act. But when we try to provide education to everyone, we remove the magic of one-on-one tutoring. Because if you have the undivided attention of a teacher, and you can teach the content in a way that interests just that learner, you can really let them excel. They can learn much faster and they'll be much more interested in the learning process. So the Industrial Revolution came 200 years ago when we put students in groups and ranks and files, and we taught them the same curriculum in the same way across 12 years, and the aim was to get them to go work in the different industries that were emerging back then. But this removed the magic of one-on-one tutoring. And so up to now, we still have it here. This is not just only in Namibia, but many areas around the world, even across universities, you have group teaching, where one teacher stands in front or an instructor and they explain the content to everyone else. But this lacks the personalization that is required for real academic excellence. So the current solution we have right now is parents who can afford often hire tutors for their kids, or the students in university will hire a tutor or go for tutoring, and they will get this one-on-one teaching. But this is not sustainable. You cannot really hire a tutor for everyone else in the classroom, at least not a human tutor, because it doesn't make economic sense. And so what we are seeing here in Namibian classrooms, and this is not just across universities, but especially high schools, you have one teacher teaching 40 learners, where one class period is 40 minutes. And if you have 40 learners, and you really want to personalize this, you can give 1 minute per child of attention. The school has like 6 to 8 periods, and that means you can only give 6 to 8 minutes of personalized attention. That's 30 minutes of personalized attention a teacher can give to a learner inside that classroom. And so that's not enough to really achieve academic excellence. We know this from the work of Benjamin Bloom, where he did a study in 1984. He took learners from a normal classroom. He hired a tutor for each one of them, and he realized just the same group of students, if you just give them one-on-one tutoring, they can really excel and achieve up to 2 sigma improvements. That's close to skipping 2 samples, just taking the same class. And you give them that one-on-one attention, you can really help them excel. Now, throughout time, there have been technologies that have tried to help us solve this problem. We had the radio in the 1920s. You can now hear people speaking across the world, and you can tune in and you can listen. So the thinking was maybe then we can get our best experts in the field to teach people across the radio, but that wasn't enough because it's just one direction communication, and it wasn't interactive. And so learners often dozed out or logged off. You had the television in the 1950s, or you can now see pictures and people speaking, and we can put the best teachers across the TV, and you can ask them to teach. But again, also it was unidirectional, And it wasn't interactive. The content was prepared one size fits all, one teacher teaching a group of everyone who's logged in across the world on that television. We had the 1980s where the computer labs came up, and we put 30, 40 computer labs in a school, and we had programs in these computer labs, or in these computers. These programs were meant to teach students specific skills or help them with schoolwork. But this also wasn't enough because, for starters, it's one computer being shared by so many students. But second, the program were prepared, the content was not dynamic. It was prepared once by a developer, and then after that, it doesn't really transform to the interest or what the current knowledge gap of that student is. And so we had the 2000s, and then we had the internet. You can now search anything on the internet, and you can get information. You had YouTube, you had open learning systems, you had your Moodles. But this didn't really transform how learning happened. It was still one size fits all. The content was prepared beforehand, and we really haven't seen impressive results since, or at least impressive results with respect to academic outcomes since the dawn of the internet itself, because we still are not doing that one-on-one tutoring. And so we believe today we can use AI technology as a tutor to partner with teachers, and the teachers can instruct the AI to deliver the content. In this case, the AI will deliver the content dynamically to each learner based on the learning profile that it builds up on each learner. And so we look at it as providing 40 AI Aristotles inside the classroom, and the teacher coaches all these learners with the support of the AI. And so it really looks like this. If Mishipindo is a chemistry teacher or a hospitality or design and technology teacher at a particular school, she has 30, 40 learners in her classroom. Her learners, because they're at a government school, they are given devices. And Mishipindo, when they come into this class, depending on whether the concept is theory or practical, if it's theory, and it's a difficult concept, Mishipindo will give the learners access to laptops, and they will go into the lesson on Yeni that Mishipindo prepared, where Yeni will tutor each learner one-on-one on these concepts. And so we've done this across schools in Ludrets, in Windhoek, and we are busy now doing it in Ludrets, where we are doing it at Ludrets Secondary School, which is a technical school, where we have subjects like hospitality, home economics, technical drawing, design and technology, and the rest of the normal subjects like math and physics. And then we are doing it at Angarapengwana as well, where we've deployed laptops to teachers and learners, and we've given them internet access. And teachers are partnering with Yeni to be able to see how each of the learners, there are 40 learners in the classroom, are performing on a particular topic, and see exactly where is the bottleneck and where can I help. And they talk back and forth to figure out with Yeni how to structure a lesson plan and deliver a lesson with appropriate lesson hooks that help the different groups of learners that are in that classroom. And after delivering these lessons, they can give Yeni further instructions to go do an activity with learners, and then they continue doing them. So really what Yeni needs for the learning process to start is just a curriculum. And you take the specific learning objectives in that curriculum and you copy and paste it into Yeni, and Yeni takes that as instruction that this is what the learner must be taught. But teachers have further features where they can give further custom instructions and say, when you're teaching this particular learner, teach it in this particular way and consider these 5 facts about this learner. And so the idea is really to provide that one-on-one personalized learning. But the learning itself is not just about presenting information, stating facts and ideas to the learner. You really want it to be back and forth. You want it to be Socratic. And so what Yeni does is follow what we call the Socratic method, inspired by Socrates himself. The idea is that instead of just presenting answers and information, you have to ask the learner to attempt things and say what they think, even if it's wrong. And in that way, you'll be able to discover what it is that they know. So an example here is the learner is working on fraction, and Yeni is saying, okay, example, we are converting fractions to percentages. The rule is to convert a fraction to a percentage, divide the numerator by denominator to get a decimal, then multiply by 100 and add the percentage sign. Then it gives a quick example and says, okay, what's the first thing we need to find when converting a fraction to a percentage? The learner has to say what they think, and they have to, because each learner is going to answer from the point where they are, the lesson starts getting personalized from that point onwards. And so the learners will talk back and forth to Yeni. They can speak with their voice, or they can type back and forth. And Yeni will guide each learner and respond to each learner based on just where they are to get them to the point where the teacher wants them to be. And Yeni also searches across the internet to provide personalized videos to each learner. So instead of just giving a video to the whole class, the same video, Yeni will search up a video based on the current issue that the learner is struggling with and give it to that learner. Same with images and diagrams. And basically every content, the way it's provided, is personalized to each individual learner. No learner is going to get the same concept explained in the same way. Each learner will get a concept explained in a manner that just clicks and works for them. And so what we've done further is also try and digitalize all the exam question papers where you can expose learners to past exam questions and they can work together with the AI to see how it's done. And so each learner gets to practice these exam questions back and forth until they really get it. So what we've done is, I'm going to quickly show you a video of what some teachers and learners have felt about using it inside the classroom. Oops, sorry, I was muted. Last year, we rolled out Yeni across 3 government schools, and we saw results that potentially showed us that we could come close to replicating Benjamin Bloom's work, where he deployed human tutors for the whole classroom. And although when we deployed it last year, we did not work with teachers, we realized that, of course, the only way you're going to make this work is by figuring out building features into the product that ultimately benefits the teachers directly, not just benefit the learners. And so some of the results we saw improvements in subjects like English and physical science and biology, where you could see subjects moving from a class average of 38 to 58%, 47 to 64%, 37, 46. These were just signs to us that the technology could potentially help us replicate that kind of result. And so what we've done is gone further and built more features to help the teacher really deploy this in the classroom, where the teacher has access to accountability tools where they can set up learning goals for specific learners across all their subjects, and they can see, okay, this is how much time the learner has spent so far, this is how far they are with completing their lessons, this is the quality of the lessons they are completing. And what we've also built in these features to allow the teacher to talk to the AI and discover, okay, how is the learner doing in this conversation? How are they solving the problem? Are they actually able to apply the formulas, and where are they going wrong? And they can talk back and forth to discover how to help that particular student afterwards. Parents get to receive dashboard links where they can see how their learners are working, or their kids are working, and if they're actually studying. And if they studied, how long did they study that day, and how effective was the studying process. So we think the magic formula is figuring out how to use AI to help the teacher be able to provide the one-on-one personalized attention into large classroom sizes. And we are busy figuring that out right now, and we are doing that in Ludre Secondary School with these partners, where we've been able to provide devices, laptops to all the learners and teachers. And almost every day, these learners are logging in 3 to 4 hours of personalized tutoring alongside group instruction that is being taught in the classroom, where a teacher picks the topic depending on which topic is difficult and which topic requires more practice. Then they go do that topic on Yeni inside the classroom, and then the teacher next day can see insights on where the learners were struggling and what to focus on further in that lesson. So that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Vitelas. That was very brief. Do you have got any questions or any contributions from the floor that we can give Mr. Opinti? Maybe one question or contribution? Doc, are you fine there? Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. I just want to find out what are the requirements, for example, for if this is to be implemented in a particular class. What are the requirements?
Mr. Opinti, is it clear?
The question is clear. I'm not sure if you're speaking was in a traditional government classroom or you're speaking about university or a Tvet center.
I think you are talking of learners, not of students.
Yeah, we do across. Well, we've done studies with universities, so the technology can be used across.
Yes.
It's only that our focus has been largely deploying it in high schools because that's where we have more learners.
Yes.
But the requirement is basically an internet access. So if we are putting it inside a school, it's internet access into 2 or 3 classrooms, and then laptops. And then training for the teachers and everyone else on how to go about the program.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you give applause to Mr. Opinti, please? Mr. Opinti, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. We are almost there. We just have got 2 more to go and then we conclude. Just 2 more. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. We are about to conclude. So please bear with me. There's a small change in the program. I would want Ms. Eunice quickly to come so that I can quickly give her the floor. PhD candidate, Mount Kenya University. So can you help me welcome Ms. Eunice to the floor, please? I think Dr. Klopper is going to. Ms. Eunice is she's actually online. She will be presenting online. So there's just a small technical challenge, but it's being addressed by Dr. Klopper. We are almost there. While we are waiting for Ms. Eunice, Mr. Shindi, can you please give us the last one? Please, apologies, but with due respect, please give us the last one. It's just something short here. Just give us the last one. Even a story. We like stories. Please, can the mic to Mr. Shindi, please? The driver of the mic now is outside. Okay, Mr. Abraham.
Young men, I'll have you arrested one of these good days. But anyway, a story is told of this old man who was with his son, and they were moving in the farm. And while moving, the son says, oh, yes, they saw a watermelon and the watermelon plant. So the father then said, oh, yeah, you look, I'm doing good agriculture. Look at what I have right now. And the son said, oh, yeah, we thank the Lord for this. And the father said, what Lord? He says, no, there is a God in heaven. He said, I don't believe in God. You know, there is no God. Look at this. I did it with my own power. So they collected the watermelon and they went to the fig tree, and they sat and they were already eating the figs from there. While they were resting, then the father was saying, look, you know, you say you have a God, but look at the engineering which is here. The watermelon, it's a very small plant, and you're saying it's from God. And look at how the big size of the watermelon, and this fig tree also say it's from God, and look at how the figs are so small. God should have made it the other way around, inverse. So they ate, they relaxed. After eating, they fell asleep. While they were sleeping, then the fig tree, one of the figs dropped on the father. Boom! Ha! Then the father woke up and said, oh yeah, I think there is a God. If it was a watermelon, imagine what could have happened. Is the presenter ready?
Mr. Shindi,
There we are.
Mr. Shindi, thank you.
God is good, and all the time God is good.
That's why we appreciate your presence, Mr. Shindi. Can you give him applause, please? So, Ms. Eunice, are we ready?
Yes, I am ready. Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Eunice, you may start. The floor is yours.
Okay. Are you seeing my presentation?
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Thank you so much. My name is Eunice Owino from Kenya. I am a PhD student at Mount Kenya University. My research, PhD research, is related to Tvet, but the presentation today is not closer to my research. I want to say first that I'm grateful to be here. I've been following the proceedings via Facebook and yesterday via Microsoft Teams. And what has inspired me is that we share a lot across Africa in terms of Tibet. And I think it is good that we have this forum to see how we can always partner and move forward. Currently, I work at Mount Kenya University. I'm in charge of linkages and partnerships. But prior to that, before I present my work, I want to mention that I worked in the county government of Homa Bay as the county chief officer of education. Like all of you, you know that Kenya is under devolved government. We have the national government and the counties. So I was at the county level at the onset of devolution for 10 years. So for 10 years, I worked as the chief officer of education, and the component of education that is devolved is vocational training and early childhood. So we implemented the vocational training from the names that were called village polytechnics to the new names like vocational training. And during my tenure, from 2013 to 2022, 10 years, I learned a lot on Tibet and especially vocational training and partnerships, which is now my stronghold, my strong area, partnerships. And this created in me a need and a desire to look at different partners in Kenya in Tvet and just see what kind of lessons are we learning from them. And GIZ stood out for me because I worked with them, and many institutions, Tvet institutions in Kenya, have been supported by GIZ. Thus, my topic is the dual Tvet programs, lessons learned from collaboration of GIZ and Kenya. And I was excited. Yesterday, I saw many presenters referring to GIZ Namibia, and I was like, okay, GIZ is indeed global. So in the introduction part, I will also give a brief history of Kenya and Tvet. In 2022, in 2002, many Tvet institutions in Kenya were converted to universities. And a decade later, Kenya experienced shortage on skills, hands-on skills, technical skills, and it brought the government to the drawing board. And there was a review on Tvet Act 2013, where Kenya decided now we are looking into these policies that are going to spearhead Kenya to the next level in terms of economic development. And when you can't talk about economic development without education, more so technical education. So several policies have influenced my study. We have the Kenya's Vision 2030, which stipulates that education, and especially Tvet, is so essential to move Kenya to that level that we envision in terms of development. We have the global SDGs, SDG 4 on education, quality education, SDG 8 on SDG 8 when we look at decent work, and SDG 9 when we are looking at infrastructure and industries, you know. So all around, Kenya has been grappling, and Tvet in Kenya has been having issues. We know that the Tvets can equip, can give us essential skills, and yet they've been grappling with a lot of shortcomings. For example, limited resources, limited content, where industries complained a lot, and I had some presenters talking about the market, what we receive and what we give into the markets, limited content, weak industry linkages. And to us, development partners are very welcomed in Kenya, and GIZ was one of them that did a pilot with 7 institutions for the dual Tvet program. To date, that was way back in 2019. To date, GIZ has partnered with over 65 institutions, Tvet institutions in Kenya, in partnership with Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, and the Tvet institutions. And when I talk about the Tvet institutions, I'm talking of the national polytechnics that we have as the highest level of Tvet institution. And then in the middle, we have the TTIs, technical training institutes, which are managed by the national government also. And finally, we have the vocational centers, which are managed by the counties. Now, this study is seeking to see how this collaboration between GIZ and Tvet are aligning skills with the demands of the market, and how the trainees are gaining real-world experience. This is to just bridge the training and employment component, and also to enhance the curriculum relevance, so that when Tvets train, they ensure that they are training skills that are needed in the markets. And the goal was just to look at what are these lessons that we are learning from this relationship between the GIZ and the Kenyan Tvet institutions. So we have over 65 institutions, and we are working with 65 because Tvet is rolling out very fast in Kenya, especially GIZ is rolling out their dual Tvet collaboration in Kenya. So we are working with 65 institutions, and 16 of them were selected for this study, with 184 participants, trainees, administrators, instructors, and industry supervisors, and data was collected through questionnaires, interviews, and a very deep review was done on secondary data so that we get these lessons that are being learned. Very fast, I will just move to my findings because the time is not on our side. I also know on your side because this is a favor that has been done to me. Now, my findings are like this. These institutions, the Tvet institutions, collaboration with the GIZ has attracted a lot of strengthening of the institutions and strengthening of the curriculum and creating a very strong relationship between institutions and industries. And this is led by the highest level of these Tvet institutions. The national polytechnics have acknowledged that over 85% of their trainees that went through the dual Tvet training are now gaining employment. And we are comparing across the VTCs and across the TTIs, 78 and 70. And we know why the National Polytechnics stand out. They have quality student admissions in Kenya. Admissions on Tvet is done at the COOPS, that is the national placement level. So you apply and you are placed. And many of them, if they miss the universities, they go to the National Polytechnics. And some of them, they opt to go to polytechnics direct, even if they are qualified to join university because of some of the skills that are offered at the Tvet levels. And we are seeing, in terms of curriculum relevance, we are seeing the National Polytechnic downwards. All of them acknowledge that the curriculum has been strengthened through the relationship that we have with the GIZ. However, I will go straight and look at the overall analysis. What does it speak? It is saying that the dual Tvet program has strengthened institutional industry linkages. It has improved training employability, and it has enhanced the curriculum. But a few challenges here and there have been mentioned. Inconsistent industry participation. And here, what we mean is that some of the Tvet institutions cannot access industry easily, and especially those ones that are deep in the counties. And that is why polytechnics stand out, because polytechnics are very centralized in Kenya, and we have, initially we had 10 polytechnics. Some of these TTIs have been upgraded to polytechnics. So the 10 initial polytechnics are standing out in very major cities, major towns in Kenya. Thus, industries are around them compared to vocational training centers which are housed in the counties, and we see that they're struggling to get to the industries. The few who are there are the ones that are absorbing them. There's also limited institutional coordination capacity, especially when we look at our Tvets and when we go down the cadre, down the radar from the national polytechnics to the vocational centers. There's a challenge in the systemic scalability. Since 2019 to date, we are only seeing 65 institutions having adopted the dual Tvet program in Kenya, and yet we have over 2,000 institutions, Tvet institutions. So we still have a long way to go so that we scale it. And I think here it is now the government of the day working very hard to ensure that we have policies that is adopting the dual kind of training. These inadequate monitoring frameworks, weak incentives to the private sector participation, and especially those ones that are at the county level. Of course, the resources are always a problem, and lack of clear national policies, and that is what I've mentioned. In conclusion, for the policy implication, suggestions are we embed, so that Kenya should embed the dual training at the national level so that it is cascaded down to the counties. And then we incentivize industries in whichever way, right, with the government, and then we build an institutional capacity, and then we foster research, linkages, and standardized M&E system to ensure that we bring many institutions to carry on with this very noble cause or program that is exciting and making many to start adopting it. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to me. I've gone very fast because of the time. Thank you.
Ms. Eunice, thank you so much. Number one, we like the hairstyle. Number two, we like the enthusiasm. We like the passion that you have. You are very passionate about what you have presented. So thank you. So I'm going to open the floor for 1 or 2 questions or contributions. So the floor is open for a question or contribution. Mr. Shirare. Mr. Peter. Prof, is everything fine there? Oh, okay, here is a contribution.
Yes, thank you very much once again. You mentioned that there are some institutions which are not yet converted. What are those? Why are they not taking up the dual? What are the challenges, for example, to the remaining institutions of 2000?
Ms. Eunice, is the question clear?
Yes, very clear question.
Ms. Eunice, are we still fine there?
Yes, I'm still here. I can answer the question. Yes, thank you, my sister, for that question. Yes, so far we have 67, to be precise, GIZ, dual Tvet program institutions in Kenya since 2019. And the reason behind this is the policy. So the policy is gradually adapting this because we have learned from GIZ that when we link our institutions or our programs with the industries, our trainees, they get hand-on skills and then they can relate very easily with the industry. So the policy is still very limiting and the policy is being reviewed in that. Secondly is that institutions are waiting for GIZ to come to them. You know, GIZ is working with 67. We have over 2,000 out there. Why don't you just start your dual Tvet program? We are waiting for GIZ to come to our institutions. I think this is what we should now think out of the box. We have analyzed the program, which is GIZ dual program. We find it very good that we can adapt. We should just go ahead and adapt it as a country. We should not wait for GIZ to come and implement it for us because a pilot was done on 7, scaling was done for 65. Why should we wait for them to come and implement to all the other VTCs or Tibet institutions in Kenya? So I think the challenge is on us and the challenge lies with the policy.
Ms. Eunice. Asante Sane.
Asante sana.
We thank you, Ms. Eunice. Can you give her a round of applause, please?
Thank you so much to Dr. Lena and Bernadette. I appreciate them for following that I have ensured that I have presented. Much love from Kenya, and thank you everyone who is there. When you come to Kenya, please look for me. I'm at Mount Kenya University. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, colleagues, now we go to the final, the last stretch. And then, colleagues, things are waiting for us. So where do you want to go? They are not there for Arabush, they are there for us. So lastly, we'll have Mr. Moses. Manager, Knowledge Management, Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer, National Commission on Research, Science and Technology. So he's from NCRST. So please, can you help me to welcome Mr. Moses? Mr. Moses, apologies for delaying you, but now the floor is yours. The portable mic, where is it?
Thank you. Good evening, colleagues. Mine is not a presentation per se, but rather sharing of information about what we have been doing for the past 4 to 6 weeks at the NCRST, which turned out to be in line with the objectives of the conference. So when we heard about this conference coming up, we decided to halt everything and wait for the conference to come so that we can come and present here. But first things first, that's what I'm going to talk about. Out of those 6 slides, I'll just present 3 or 4. That is just what we are doing as the NCRST. We are established under that act, and ours is to coordinate, promote, and facilitate funding of research, science, technology, and innovation activities in Namibia. Our vision and mission, you can read for yourself on the website. Yeah, we are also involved with other activities that are related to our mandate. For example, we are the ones responsible for the Biosafety Act, the implementation of the Biosafety Act. I'm sure we all know what the Biosafety Act does. We are controlling the incoming food that contains GMO. We are the ones to make sure that the food that is coming into the country contains so much percent of GMO. If not, we send it back. We're also responsible for the space science and technology policy. If tomorrow we hear that Namibia is part of those countries that are planning to land the second man on the moon, then you should know NCRST is involved. That is if the first man was ever there. We are also responsible for the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, which will soon become a bill, obviously. And we are also responsible for the National Program on Research, Science, Technology and Innovation, and then the National Policy on Indigenous Knowledge Systems. This is very important for us because what we are doing with that, what we are planning to do with that national policy, excuse me, is to look at our indigenous knowledge systems, or if you like, traditional knowledge systems, to say things that we were told, especially with the arrival of religion and all that, things that we were told to throw away because they are either satanic or they are not clean or they are not up to date. When you travel around the world, you will find that these things that we were told to throw away are now making money for the same people that told us to throw them away in their museums and all that. Even the movies that we watch, some of them are based on the things that we're told they are not really useful. The policy is trying to revisit those, bring them out, the good ones, not witch and all these things, but the good ones, and then add value to it to bring them up to date so that they can be consumed, so that can be used, so that can be procured for everyday use. We're also responsible for the National Bioeconomy Strategy. And then lastly, the national system on innovation. Now, what I'm going to talk about is the program that we have initiated called the annual Tvet Innovators Expo. The annual Tvet Innovators Expo is an annual event. It's going to take place, it's planned to be taking place once a year in any region that wins to host the event. And basically what it does is to identify innovative programs, innovative products and services that our vocational training centers are coming up with. And then secondly is to select one of the best of those which is commercially viable to be able to take it further. Take it further in terms of either ensuring employment for the students or the instructors who came up with that products and services, with that project, and then attach them to the captains of the industry, and in the process reward them for what they have come up with. And that reward will come in the form of creating employment for them, ensuring that they are employed, and also ensuring that they can start their own businesses and also employ others in the process. This is how it will work. In the first place, we sit together with BIPA for the process, for the purpose that the projects and services, the products and services that we are going to look at will eventually become maybe a company that the owner will employ others, and in that process, companies are registered with BIPA, and we are looking at innovation, and innovation is also falling under the BIPA mandate. NTA, that is automatic because all the VTCs are falling under that authority. NSI came on board because this product that the students or the instructors are coming up with should be standardized. You cannot have, for example, somebody coming up with a company of producing wheelbarrows, and then you have one wheelbarrow is 9 millimeter long, and the other one is 8.5 millimeter long, and the other one is 10. So it has to go through the national Namibia Standard Institution. And then NAST for obvious reasons, yeah? Okay, and then secondly, we'll then have to come up with terms of reference to see the above mentioned collaborating entities who should do what, how, and when. Once we agree on this, on those terms of references, we'll then have an official briefing of the line ministries, because the identified collaborating entities are not all falling from the same, falling under the same ministry. We'll then have to brief their respective ministries for the primary purpose of getting or obtaining a political blessing. And then the next one will be the National Information Sharing Campaign, where we will be visiting all the VTCs throughout the country, public ones for the start. And then later we can then bring on board other sponsors so that we can also include the private ones. Speak to them about what is expected of them and all that, so that when they finally pitch their products and services, they are speaking to the objectives of the project. And then we have to now nextly to carry out robust stakeholder engagement initiatives, because with the small budget that we have, we cannot be able to make this project a reality without the involvement of private sector and captains of industry and so on. Happy to have on board. All for example, GIZ was, as we have heard, he have been part of this from the beginning up to now. We can also identify them as part of as one of the possible stakeholders who can come on board and take us forward. And then all the VTCs will then be required to come up with a project that they will pitch. They will come up with that project that they will pitch, and we are looking at, for example, July of each year, they should have already informed us or indicated to us what they want to come and pitch. After that, we can then call the relevant stakeholders to come and scrutinize the selected project. After scrutinizing that, we can then train the judges what they should look at, specifically looking at if there is any innovation activity built in. Why innovation? This is because we have realized that Namibia being listed as one of the developing countries, there is very, very little or nothing to invent anymore. We cannot invent much, but we can innovate around existing products and services so that we can customize those to our need as a country. So we will then bring in the judges who will look at those, and when the judges are happy, they will then be, the VTCs will then be informed to come and pitch their products. And we are looking at October for that. Why October? We are taking into account that we don't want to disrupt the exams and all that. That's why it was planned to take place in October, but once we heard about this conference, we pushed it towards the end of the month, because we should have been very far with this. And then lastly, the winners will then be announced, rewarded, and then connected to the relevant industries in which that specific project fall. So that is basically what we are trying to do with the project that I've just indicated. Now, in conclusion, we have just a few, maybe four, a few questions or comments that we would like to make, saying creativity is just it's just a talent like any other. If somebody's creative, that person is talented in what they do. And when somebody's talented, you don't necessarily take what they have created and use it anyhow without proper reward and due remuneration for that particular talent or creativity. Because we are doing this with everything else that we found in our midst. For example, the books that were given here, I got one as a gift. You cannot, that book is in English, but if you realize that you want people from the two Kavangos or from Zambezi or from the 4O regions to also read the content, you cannot just take this book and translate it without the copyright holder or the copyright owner giving you permission to do that. So that's what we are saying with the first statement, to say that if somebody creates something, you don't deal with that product anyhow. Okay, and that's what we want to do with what the VTCs are creating. And then the second one is to say there is a need for more research activity to find out what are the bottlenecks when it comes to effective commercialization of what the students and instructors are creating. Because for the 4 years that the student is at school, they are doing something. But we hardly see these things on our shelves, in our shops. What we see are things that are imported. But when you look at the two, there's a very, very slim difference between the two products. Why are we not bringing those products on the shelf so that they can be consumed or procured just like any other? We have to conduct research and find out the reasons why. Yeah, because the example of the wheelbarrows that I mentioned, the wheelbarrows that I'm using at my site, they are not from the shops, they are from the VTCs. And when you see them, they are doing exactly the same job. But we don't procure those, we procure the others that are imported. So we have to conduct research and find out what we can do about that. And then thirdly, protection, promotion, and effective management of creative works from the vocational training centers can be a cornerstone of Namibia's socio-economic development. Again, back to the wheelbarrow. We are saying people don't have jobs, but these are the same people who are producing this. So how can we make sure that these things that they are, these products that they are producing can actually be regarded as maybe if we really like it and we know we can use it effectively in our daily activities, why can we not protect this? Because when something is protected, the next thing, the owner can make money with this because nobody can touch it without permission of this one. We are talking about intellectual property. And then we have to promote that. How do we promote that? Is by making sure that our local people procure these particular products instead of now relying on the one that is imported. That is obviously with the quality in mind. And then we manage the rights of these people, the owner of this product. And then lastly, we are saying that we can minimize or eventually end the unfavorable dependence on other people's creative work when we have our own that we can rely on. We can do that. How do we do that? Is by going back to number 3, by protecting, promoting, and managing well these kind of products. And then also inform the populace that there's no difference between what you see in the shops and what students are producing. We just have to add a little bit of value, and then the usage of such is the same. Thank you. And what we have on the screen are the contact details. Why I put those contact details on is to say, as I said, we were planning to approach the VTCs already. It's not for the information about this conference, but what we can do now is to announce that we have between now and the end of, between now and mid-December, because mid-December is our official closure, institutional closure, to visit at least 5 or 6 VTCs that are ready to receive us. What are we going to do there is to speak more on this and on the requirements of what project they can bring forward to bid. So when you write to the CEO, and then you CC the 2 individuals that you see on the screen. And then we can respond by visiting your center at our own cost and everything like that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moses. I didn't actually want to ask you a question, but the way that you're looking at me, I decided let me ask you one question. Are the private VTCs also welcome to approach you? The private VTCs, are they also welcome? Or first, you want to do a pilot with the public and then you open the opportunity for private?
Thank you for the question. At the moment, no. But it's not going to be long until we do that. No, because the institutions that have been listed as collaborating entities are all public entities. And we would like to have that TORs first. They look at it, and then we can later look at how do we include the private sector. Because now, if you start by mixing them, it's going to complicate everything. We rather start maybe in the first year, because we are hoping to launch this in October next year. Once we see how everything goes, then we can go back to the stakeholder engagement initiatives and then get more funding and pull in the private sector, then we can take it holistically.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moses. My doctor there. Okay, the driver is there.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I understand this is a department or it's an institution that belongs to the government. And you are driving the national interest. Is it not dangerous if an institution at the national level come out clean to say these are public VTCs, these are private VTCs? And something that we, through this conference, we try to discourage, and yet is now coming out from that highest office when you look at it. Then is there concrete reasons on why only public VTCs? And the government framework is advocating for collaboration. Yet now we are having institutions that divorces that framework. Then before I give to my colleague, and it seems again, this program is already planned somewhere, and you are taking it to VTCs. Why? Is there a reason why this, what you call public VTCs, were not engaged at the planning stage? Is there a reason for them, when you say July, are we sure that by July of each year they will be responsible? Because they were supposed to be in a better position to bring their input, then we take it from there. Then again, if I can take you to your slide number 6. Slide number 6. Yeah. No, I'm saying I want to take you to slide number 6.
Oh, okay.
Yes. My colleague will talk more about on that slide. But I just want to see your first point. There are different organizations there, but the industry is not featured there. Is there a reason why it's not featured there? And still the framework talk of collaboration. But it seems we are leaning more on parastatals and leaving the other side. But let my colleagues talk to that more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's in the same line. Yeah. It's in the same line, yeah.
May I respond first before I forget your question? Let me first, if you may, allow me to respond first.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the first question is why public institutions? As I indicated when I was responding to him, we were saying this is the first thing we are doing this. But we are saying in the first year, let's test how it goes. And then in the second year, then we can now say, okay, we are now ready to include the private sector because we have the funding is there, the TOR has been agreed upon, and I'm already jumping into your second question, by the key collaborating entities, and those ones that you see, they are not also going to be the only ones. We just identify them as being at the core of the whole objective of the project. But once that is done, the TOR has been agreed upon. Of course, you will see other role players coming on board. But for looking at the public first, it's just to make sure that it works. We test the waters as a pilot, and then we see how it goes, and then eventually we bring in the public sector. It's not going to be left out completely, because that's not the aim. Yeah.
Okay, before the second question, because I think, Mr. Abraham, you should also take note of that, because sometimes, when these objections come out from private providers, it seems like I'm trying to protect my interests, or like Mr. Berries wants to buy again a second Range Rover, whatsoever. But I think that's where we are going wrong as a nation. Example, it's only that Mr. Jerry is not here. GIZ has pumped in a lot of money into public institutions. But then once I asked Mr. Jerry Bekes, did you measure the input, this is the output? Mm-hmm. What you have pumped in and what you are getting out, is it really worth it? But I'll leave it there.
Okay. Still my question not answered. Why public VTCs? You say you want to pilot, but why can't you pilot with private VTCs? Because we are promoting what's already outside there. To say private VTCs are treated like stepkids. No, that's a fact. And when we started with this conference, it's a notion that we want to disapprove. But now it's become a bit dangerous when it's come at the closing of the conference where we cannot, unhandle it. But it's okay, my colleague will come in.
Mr. Abraham, I'll give you now. Let me give Dr. Nico.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I have heard what my colleague is concerned. I want to speak more from development-related field because I'm coming from that area. I was part of the formulation and the development of the NDP6. The Harambee Prosperity Plan as we know it, and including the SDG goals as well. It clearly advocates for partnerships. And that is the reason why we're supposed to sit around the table such as the tables that we are now sitting in this room to chart the development of this country. Because NRST alone will not even 0.1 that will be able to move this country from where it is to where we want to be in 2030. NDP6, it clearly emphasizes on partnership and collaboration. That message must be very clear because NRST is a public institution that emanated directly from the Ministry of Higher Education. That must be very clear. As a public institution, regardless of whatever reason that we can use to justify targeting public VTCs, private VTCs must as well feature in that exercise. If we have, let me give an example. If we have, say, an international organization that intends to operate in Namibia, the moment it enters at any of these entry points, the moment they enter here, they are given our national development frameworks as their Bible, as their contributions towards to national development of this country. So there is no an excuse that NRST should really use that as an excuse that they are only targeting public VTCs for such a very big project. That is number one. Number two, as I said, I'm from the development area. Let us all encourage the bottom-up approach. I think this message must be very clear. Bottom-up approach. What do I mean in this context? I have seen, if you go to that specific slide, I think that should be slide number 6. Let's quickly go there so that I can explain it better, I think. Yes, if we read, I want to speak on behalf of the VTCs. If you read that first slide, I am aware and I know very well that NTA is a regulating institution, is it? But VTCs themselves are not represented there. They will only be part of the exercise when they will be conducting national information sharing. Where are the VTCs? Remember what I was saying this morning to say, when we are planning, those that we want to develop must be at the center of that development. The VTCs are missing there. NTA, they are the regulating institution, but we want the presence and recognition of the VTCs. We want their voices to be heard. Not just as part of the national information sharing. That is the bottom up that I'm talking about. I want to link the industry. I'm concluding, colleagues. The part of the industries that we are talking about is the reason why we keep hearing it from the past conferences that we had previously, that the industries, we can't find the industries in this conversation, simply because we keep excluding them. Where are they in that first sentence? They are not part of the planning.
Okay, yeah, let me answer, and please, let's take note that I'm clarifying. I'm clarifying because I see my brother here is worried, everybody else is worried. This is still at the planning stage. And NTA, we know who MTA is. When we talk about NTA, it was not going to be correct to start talking to the VTCs without having the blessing of NTA. When we are planning, we are calling them first. We are calling NTA first. That is where that advice is going to come from that planning engagement. So once we talk to these entities, the advice will then come to fruition that create the worries. But we just felt that we first spoke to the authorities, the entities that represent those that we want to target. And since they are going to be part of the planning stage, all these things are going to come out so that we can do it right. There was no way we are going to go to the VTCs without the blessing of the NTA. That's why they are put at the beginning there to guide, to say, of course, let's not go public alone. Let's include private. Because once they're on board, that advice was going to come as it is coming out now. But they are put in the planning stage for that very reason. It was not going to be good, excluding private VTCs as it comes out, but it's going to come out exactly the way everybody else wants it, but we have to get that blessing of the authority.
Okay, Mr. Moses, okay, before I give the floor to Mr. Abraham, but the context that you are specifying to say that public VTCs, don't you think that it's creating a type of biasness in the whole system? Don't you think that it's creating, it's not inclusive? Because mind you, Mr. Moses, the same, teacher, I'll give you now, with you. Teacher, I have powers invested in me. No, we are not debating. Teach, we need clarity on these things, teach.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Abraham, then I'll give Prof. No, Prof, we need to hear something from you. Okay, Mr. Abraham.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I wanted to address all three concerns from you, Beris, and from the two doctors as well. We still are at the TOR stage, all right? And at the TOR stage, we can engage one another, colleagues. Exactly. The colleagues are going to engage. If you strongly feel that we need to include the private training providers, or NCRST and the conglomerate needs to include private training providers, that is not off the table. He gave his reasons why they initially thought of having public training providers, but since we are still at the TOR stage, we have discussions to make this inclusive, the initial pilot inclusive. So I think for us to make this a debate, and for us to become a little bit emotional around the issue when we are developing a TOR, I think it's a bit premature. Let us be patient with the process. Let us allow the TOR to come to us. I would say let us follow up with NCRST. The comrade was very generous to give us his contact details. Let us commit to follow up with him in the next week, the next 2 weeks, and say, how far is the TOR? Have our wishes to be included as private training providers. Okay, we can even express that wish through Tvet in. Okay, has that wish been included in the TOR? And then we take it from there. I mean, from where I'm standing, I don't see any harm in including a few private training providers. There's no harm there. But let us have the conversation with NCRST. I don't think this is something that should break the egg, colleagues. There's no need. Yeah. There's no need at all. We are at a TOR development stage. There's a TOR being developed. So let us be patient with one another. In Tvet, it's like, my brother, I don't know if you've been in Tvet before, but we are very spirited. It's always like this. So let us have a conversation. We'll have the conversation, and then we take it from there. Comrade Chair, submit.
Okay, thank you. Doc, I'll quickly give to Doc, just for the last Dr. Nico, yeah, you can give to Doc quickly, just to conclude, then I'll give to Doc there.
Yes, colleagues, what we are saying is what we have been experiencing in this country. People are drawing the TOR somewhere, and we are saying that's wrong. Let this organization, this body, be part of those that are drawing up the TOR. That's supposed to be done, because not to wait for... Yes. 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 I said let's be honest to each other at the beginning of this. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Doc, and then we'll give to the madam here.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a progressive problem. Now, I want us to go to the second last slide, bullet number 2. Second last slide.
Second last.
Yes, your conclusion, sorry. Your conclusion, yes. Bullet number 2. If I like that idea is very good. But how involved is the institution in those research? If I recall 2-3 years ago, I speak under correction, please feel free to correct me, even if the English evaporates from my head and condenses somewhere else. It came on a boat, don't mind it. 3-4 years ago, I remember that doctoral studies, master's studies in the context of research had to go through your institution. That is if I am thinking correctly. But please correct me. What, if that was the case, is it still the case? And if it is the case, why are we going through this institution, your institution? Why? What is it doing with research, with our research? Are you collecting our research to see what can work for our country, or you just go through our proposals and approve or disapprove, end of the story? Which comes back to that one, number 2. Who is gonna do those research? And what will be your level of involvement in it as an institution? We were looking for you yesterday, sorry. Thank God you are here today.
Okay, thank you, Doc. To answer a question briefly, when you look at that slide, it indicates how and why we were created as an institution. To coordinate, number 1, to promote and to facilitate funding for research that we are talking about, science, technology, and innovation. Why research activities are going through our institution is just for government to make sure that any research activity, innovation, science, and technology activity taking place in the country, there is a database where we can rely on to say, somebody researches on why we have high level of malaria in Zambezi during rainfall. We don't want 100 people researching on the same thing. We want people continuing on what the first researcher has left. How do you do that when you don't have a coordinating agency? You need to have a coordinating agency because we are also responsible for the national program, indicating that as per our development plans, this is the area that is very close to our heart. Very close to our heart, how? Because our needs are here. Shortly after independence, we were worried about HIV, for example, unemployment, reconciliation, and all those. If somebody's researching on how ants come up with their heel, we were not going to allow that because we are worried about HIV. We are worried about unemployment. We are worried about reconciling people who are inside and those who are coming from exile. So we are there to look at the national programs, the national needs, and coordinate and guide research activities. If you want to innovate, we have the National Policy on Innovation. We have to guide you to say, now we are talking about artificial intelligence. do we really need it now? Are we not going to create more unemployment? Let us guide you on what you are innovating so that you are speaking to the needs of the country. That is the reason why the researchers' activity, innovation activities are going through us. That's the only reason why. And the one that on slide 6 that everybody's worried about, was it that one? Or no, the recommendation to say there is need for more research activities. This is simply to say we don't conduct research, and that is a misunderstanding that many people have. NCRSC does not conduct research. We coordinate research. How? We go out there, be it local, regional, or international, and say, this is our needs as a country. If you want to fund, please fund in these particular areas. We have water management problem. When it rains and you drive from Oshakati to Otapi, from Oshakati to Okahau, when you look on your left, on your right, it's like you are driving to Office Bay, looking at the sea. But 3 months down the line, everything is dry, and everybody's crying. We don't have water for our animal. We don't. So if you are researching in water management, we guide, we coordinate what you are researching on. That is our duty. So when I say there's need for more research, I'm simply saying we are here. Anybody who wants to conduct research in a particular area, we are here to coordinate and guide where you should put your money on. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think my question is building up on more research activities. So for example, this afternoon, we saw very brilliant presentation from the students, but we can see that the objective of that study, and it's really solving the real need of the problem at the national level. But we can see that the objectives are not aligned. It's a very innovative, but you can see there is a need for coaching and mentorship until the project comes to a reality. I wanted to find out, is there a particular budget, and will it include the mentoring and coaching? Because we know that there are some, like for example, I've been involved in the solar industry many years, and still to get even professors at NAST alone who can really coach a student to until the project comes to a commercialization level is still limited. So it means we need to go out there and find an expert in that area and for example, really coach the student who is very innovative and talented to come to the level where, until we have the commercialization. So is there a budget for this, and how mentorship and can be included?
Okay, thank you. I hope I got your question correctly. You are asking whether there is Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it now. When I say there's a need for more research, I'm sure somebody else is conducting research on it, but I cannot tell you who is busy doing this. But why I put that statement there is to say, as a country, we need somebody to look at this particular issue. Why do we have people creating, but whatever they are creating, we don't see these things on the market? We need to research on that, because for you to trust something, you need scientific information. And that comes out only after a research has been conducted. As to whether we have a budget, as we said, as I have indicated earlier, we do not conduct research, we coordinate. When you coordinate, what do? First thing is to go out there and look for funds for research. And then you transform that into what you call calls. You issue a call to say, the funds we have from Germany or from the UK or from America, from Canada, is here and is looking at anybody who wants to conduct research on this particular challenge that we have as a country. Once that call is out, then professors and other researchers, individual researchers will then apply, and then they are scrutinized the same way we are going to do this. There's judging of all the applications, and then whoever gets an opportunity to conduct that particular research is given an opportunity and the funds and the guidance to how to do it. But as NCRSC, we don't have a budget to say we are going to carry out this research because we don't conduct research, we coordinate such. So the money is not with us. The money is with the funders out there. We just coordinate because we hold the national program in our hands to guide what needs to be researched upon. Of course, we don't limit what needs to be researched upon, but when the funds come in, we redirect to say, our needs now as we speak are this. Can you maybe fund in this direction? So that you, as the example I gave earlier, you don't have to look at, somebody wants to conduct research on the bees, how they produce, we want to look at the core, at our national needs. If somebody insists to say, no, I don't want to fund that, my funds will be directed to this, then we can negotiate. But we are there to guide the national development of the country.
Okay, no, thank you, Mr. Moses.
So I think really we need to start localizing some of the initiatives to have our own budget, so we can control it, what we want to use it for. Because if we rely on donors are coming with their own objectives. They are coming with their own needs, because all funds that are donor related, it's to solve their problems and not to solve our problems. So we need to solve our own problems. And that is something which I think if you go to the donors and you're saying, we have 100,000 and we want to do this, can you please add 2 or maybe 2 million to it? It's better than having just ideas and you go to look to other people, making other people's, your problems, other people's problems. So we really need to solve our problems locally, especially like now we are talking of training equipment, training material for students to understand AI, a lot of things. These are things we need to finance ourselves locally.
Yeah, Madam, thank you. We get to Mr. Moses. Let me direct. Thank you for your contribution. And Mr. Moses, that is just food for thought for the future. It's just a recommendation from our side. So once again, I want to thank you. Can you give Mr. Moses a round of applause, please?
There's information to her question. There's information to your question.
Mr.
For
Moses,
many years now...
I would advise you to catch up after the session, please, because we need to...
I just want to appease her.
Let me give you 1 minute.
Okay. Not really 1 minute, 30 seconds. There is, for many years now, not really many, but a couple of years, we, as the NCRST, have tabled the proposal to the power that be, I'm sure you know what I mean, to say, can we have at least 1% of the GDP of the country so that we can do what most of the things that you are truly asking? Because we can't really rely on somebody coming from outside and give us money and then come with, the money comes with conditions. That's why we said 1% of the GDP, we can do everything that the country wants us to do. But that question has been there. I cannot say how and why it is delayed, but it's something that we have requested. Once it comes to fruition, then obviously that question is answered.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moses. Okay, let's give Mr. Moses a round of applause, please, again. Okay, so finally, lastly on the program, we've got one more item, which is actually an item of conclusion. So I want you guys to join me in welcoming Dr. Klopper, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kashire. Good evening, everyone. It's been a very long day. Thank you very much for being patient and still energetic. I was very surprised to see all the energy that came in the last few minutes. So, but really, I want to really thank you for being very patient with us. Each day the program was very long, but it was long because everyone was interested in it and were engaged in it, and we hope that these discussions will still continue, and we will continue to find solutions for the things that we are discussing. We don't want to come back to the next conference and talk about the same thing. So we would like to report back on solutions that we have created. Before I release you to go home, I would like to just thank, firstly, my department, the staff members. I would really like to appreciate all your efforts, from the theme to the program, to getting the speakers, to having the kind of impact that we have been able to make for these past 3 days would not have been possible without my department. So I know many had to leave, but the Tvet department staff members who are here, if you would please rise. Can we please give them a round of applause? They've worked very hard, and I am very proud to lead such an awesome team. I would also like to thank GIZ, Pro Tvet. I think we still have a few. Do we have? We have Mr. Shindi. May you please rise. We have Mr. Rodney. We have Mr. Titus. Thank you so much. Without GIZ, we would not have enjoyed everything that looks so wonderful here, all the meals, all the gifts, all the speakers, to be able to even bring you here. All this is possible because of GIZ Pro Tvet, and we're very, very grateful to you. I'd also like to say thank you to Ubuntu Technologies for making sure that everything works as well as it should. We had challenges with network on the first day, but they came up with a solution. And they've done an amazing job in making sure that everything is streamed live so that others can join. So a round of applause to Ubuntu Technologies. And also to all of you, dear conference delegates. This is why we are here. Thank you so much. You have traveled. I know it's a busy time for everybody, but you have traveled, you have made time, you're still here. So we really, really appreciate the fact that you're still here. You have, made time to be here. So please give yourselves a round of applause also. And I would also like to thank the Ministry of, long name, Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, for all your support. Our Deputy Director has been here from day one. He's still here. So we really thank you for your support and for being with us and for navigating those turbulent waters that was just now here. So thank you so much. We are almost there. Thank you. Do we have any other ministry people? I think there should be. It's our Deputy Director holding the fort. So thank you very much. So let's give him a round of applause because he's the only one here. Okay, before we conclude, I don't have any speech for you, but I would like to acknowledge the speakers of today, the moderators. So I know some had to already leave, but those who are still here, we have a gift for you as a token of our appreciation. So when I call your name, I would like you to come here. And I would like to invite Ms. Rejoice Quest to assist me with giving out the gifts. So we'll start with Professor Michael van Wyk from UNISA. Please make your way. Dr. Nico Cizinesi. I'm still practicing. Mr. Moses Shirare. For the first time I've heard Moses' middle name. Mr. Bernard Cauteza, Mr. Fred Mandaha. Is there anybody from, I think he might have left. Oh, is he here? Okay, and Mr. Isaac Esh, I've tried very hard to practice the surname. Dipashimwe. Still need a bit of practice. But if I can call, I know he's left, if I can call Mr. JP to receive the gift on his behalf. Dr. Onesmus Alovi. Mr. Bartholomew Shileka. And Mr. Gift Mubita. They have left? Okay. Mr. Daniel from Take Care. Okay. I think I've covered everyone. Oh, sorry. How could I forget my Director of Ceremonies, Mr. Kashire? Please. Who's that? He got his gift. Unfortunately, there are just some people who can keep on giving, but unfortunately, we only have one gift. Who else? Mr. Moses, please join us. Have I left anyone out? Take care, is there no one? There comes Mr. Bartholomew. Even Mr. Silvanus also left. Okay, it's been a long day.
Oh, where can I stand?
Anyway.
Anyway. Okay, can I stand in the middle?
Yes, you may stand in the middle. Okay, please smile for the camera. Try your best, I know you're tired.
Mr. Mobida is here.
Okay, please join us. Oh, yes. Good heavens, where am I reading? Mr. Boyce and Mr. Nkalo. Okay. This is a very big team.
We made sure we're closer.
Closed all the gaps.
Yes.
Please help me. Have I missed out anyone? Okay. I think it's just Take Care that's not here. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We really appreciate all the time and effort you made to prepare your presentations. For those of you who moderated, thank you so much. Can we give them a round of applause? And before I, okay. Before I ask, Before I ask Mr. Shindi to close off with a word of prayer, I would like to just remind you we have a small token of appreciation for you. Our team outside is waiting for you. There's a small gift for you to take along. This is now for everyone. So please make sure you pick up your gift. And for those of you who are traveling, please travel safe. And we will meet again in another, till we meet again in another event. Thank you so much. And I wish you all a good evening. I am going to invite Mr. Shindi. Just 2 minutes of your time, please. So Mr. Shindi can bless us with a word of prayer.
May we give a big round of applause for all this work she has done. Okay, I can see you've already taken your standing ovation. I once again greet you in the wonderful name of Tvet. I will make this prayer short. Usually a closing prayer is usually supposed to be long, but this one will be short. May you close your eyes and bow your heads. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, I thank you. I thank you for this day because we established a protocol on the first day that we started, Jehovah God, and we asked you to lay a foundation. These are your people, your children, Jehovah God, who have withstood the test of time. Right now, as I look at the time, Jehovah God is already past 8, 12 minutes past 8, and they've been standing and they've been listening. Thank you, Lord, for the love that you have for us. And out of this love, you gave your son, your only son who died for us. And we thank you for the sunshine, for the rain. You have graced us in all these 3 days, seeing all these seasons. Lord, you are our God. For your provision and for your presence here. We experienced your provision and we experienced your presence. Thank you, Jehovah God, for all the sharing and the learning that took place and the thought-provoking presentation that came through the discussions, Jehovah God. And most importantly, as I was listening about AI, you gave me a reminder that we are now living in the end times. As the book of Daniel indicates that there will be more wisdom coming to us. Lord, may we remember that even in the book of Revelations, that as this wisdom is coming up, the days are nearing the end and your return. Jehovah God, may these your children start believing that they have to create and generate a relationship with you. Lord Almighty, I know in our discussions there could have been disagreements in what we're talking about, disagreements in approach, disagreements in definition. But Lord, you love this diversity because in you, you have created us with this diversity. Some are short, some are tall, some are thin, some are fat, some are black, some are white. Your diversity. Because, Lord, even the sun that you give us, the same sun which melts ice cream, it hardens bricks. So we love you for that diversity. Lord Almighty, there are participants who have come far and wide. We pray now for journey mercies, Jehovah God, those who are driving, those who are flying. Be with them so that there are no incidents and no accidents in the name of Jesus. As we go back, some of us are even dreading to go back to work. We are like your servant was saying, I think we should just have tents here, erected here, because there was a good time we had. Oh, we pray, my Lord, my God, that we also have difficult bosses in our workplaces. Touch them with your touch. And some of us who are here are also difficult to our workers. Give us your touch, my Jehovah, my God. And I know as I'm concluding this prayer, Lord Almighty, that some of us who are here are sick. We need your hand. Some of us have difficult relationships. Lord, give us that touch in our relationships and meet us in our point of need. Jehovah God, as I stretch my hands to these, your people, go with your blessings with them. Touch them in their special places. In the name of Jesus, I have prayed. Amen. I was told to dismiss you so you can go to your homes.
Okay, no. Try to put Tvet conference. Yeah.